by getting your reaction to yesterday's sad news about Ramsdale?
Yeah, it's very sad. I was surprised, absolutely surprised, because never heard that he was sick. And, we were close at some stage because he was manager at Watford, and I had once or twice lunch with him. And he's a man who was had a big passion, was brave, competent, and absolutely totally focused on the game. And I could feel as well that he suffered a lot as manager of England, and we never know how much the violence of this job has an incidence on our health. And I must say it's a very sad day for English football.
Seeing some of the tributes, there's a sense that he's respected by everyone, not just because of him being a great manager, but also because he was a great person as well.
Yeah, but was an honest, educated man, and I believe Pat Rice had him. Pat Rice was my assistant here for many, many years, and he had him as a manager, and he spoke to me how passionate he was and how interesting it was to work under him when he was at Watford, because they had John Barnes at the time as well at Watford. They had a good team.
Moving on to tomorrow's game, can you just give us the latest update on team news?
Look, basically we have the same players available than last week, plus Koscielny is coming back, Peter Cech is coming back in the squad, Mesut Özil, and Alexis Sanchez as well.
And the latest on Francis Coquelin, Hector Bellerin?
Hector Bellerin is still out. And Francis Coquelin is still out. They could make next week. They are not far.
Just finally from me, Swansea, of course, on Saturday they beat Crystal Palace in their last Premier League game. Is there a sense that maybe they're turning their season round?
It's difficult to know. We have to make sure that we keep our season on track, and that doesn't happen, But Premier League, we play away from home in a Premier League game, so we want to focus on being at our best. And we have played many, many away games recently, and this is another one that is always very difficult.
Arsene, you've got 3 players who signed new contracts, Giroud, Koscielny, Coquelin as well. How significant was that? Is that part of the club's policy to get these players tied down now?
It's important that we have a stability in our squad, and they are part of that. And we are, of course, on the process of negotiating with other players, as you know well. And so we want to keep a good stability, and at every end of season what is needed.
And you say that the process of speaking to other players, of course the one that's been coming up recently is Mesut Ozil, because he's given an interview where he suggested that his future could be tied to yours. Does he put pressure on you to make a decision on what happens next for you before he decides whether he's going to sign an extension here or not?
No, not necessarily. I think it's been a bit misinterpreted. He would like to know what happens, of course, on the managerial front, but I don't think that's the main part of his decision. I think it's part of it, but it's not the only thing. There are many other ingredients in any negotiation, and hopefully we'll find a conclusion very quickly with him.
Is it something you've spoken to him about, or has he asked you specifically about what your plans are?
No, we always speak. I speak more with his agent on that front, on the contract, than with him.
Are you confident that something will be sorted with Mesut Ozil sometime soon?
We do not master alone, that situation, but let's not forget that all these players, they have 18 months to go. That's a very long time in football.
So you're relaxed about the situation?
Very relaxed.
Just in terms of players, it is that obviously the transfer window, there's been talk, if you could clarify, Carl Jenkinson, has there been a bid in for him? And if there was a bid, would you be prepared to let him go, or is he staying put?
Yeah, Carl, it's a possibility that he will move, yes. In the next 2-3 days, it's a possibility.
Could you tell us, Crystal Palace is the club that's been mentioned, is that
you look well informed.
So you're expecting that one to go through then, it's just a matter of time?
It's possible, yes, you know, but I cannot tell you much more because we have not come to any conclusion yet.
And with that in mind, if the player going out, does that mean there's a possibility of you looking around for a replacement? Are you comfortable with the squad at the moment?
No, we have still Mathieu Debuchy who is injured. We have Gabriel who plays there at the moment as well, you know. We have Bellerin. So we are not short in this position. That's why we allow one of the players to go out, because they have less opportunities to play.
And just a couple of names that have been floated around in terms of players who might be interested in Andrea Bellotti. A lot of talk about...
That's what you call today fake news.
So there was definitely no bid, because there was talk.
No.
And Morata is another name that there's...
No.
No interest.
No, we have Welbeck coming back, you know. We have Giroud, we have Sanchez, we have Walcott, we have plenty of strikers. We have Perez, who is doing very well now as well. We have a high number of, and we have Chubak coming back as well, and we have Sanogo. We have a high number of strikers.
I can just ask you, looking ahead to the game, Paul Clement's first league game, first home game down there. Just how tough a task has he taken on? Because he's been elsewhere at some big clubs as an assistant. Of course, he had his time at Derby, but come to the Premier League at a team that is in such a predicament.
In the Premier League, every game is difficult once you fighting not to go down. Of course, but as well an opportunity for him, you know, to be responsible in the Premier League. And I think when you have an opportunity like that at his age, you don't turn it down.
Arsene, Paul Clement has been a very successful number two, a very successful coach. What is the biggest difference between moving up to the big seat, as it were?
It depends a little bit on... It's certainly not technical. You know, it's more resistance to stress, to pressure, and being used to be in the front line, certainly. This kind of things, it's more on the psychological front than on the technical front.
Yesterday we heard that Dimitri Payet is not going to be playing for West Ham at the moment. What do you think that shows to the outside world about football? It's not a particularly edifying story, is it?
No, the vibes you get from outside are not very positive, I must say. But it's very difficult for me to talk about that, because I don't know what's really behind, you know. And so I hope just that West Ham and Payet can sort the situation out, because it looks from outside very complicated. The boy is not known for having a bad mentality. What is suddenly happening to him, I don't know. Only they can explain that.
You don't think that the way the transfer window system is that leads to these sorts of situations?
I always was against it, you know. You would not have this kind of story. I believe it's in a way easy news and easy interest for the Premier League. But on the other hand, I believe that it's completely against the spirit what a football club should be. Once you are on the train at the start of a season, you stay on the train until the end of the season. And you do not have a stop in the middle and where half of the team goes out and another half comes in and you continue your trip. I personally don't think that it is right.
One last question about Graham Taylor. When you first arrived in the country, you were known as Arsene Who. Nobody really knew who you were. Was he one of the managers who reached out to you and made you feel more welcome than a lot of others?
Yes, he was a very nice man, very welcoming man, yes. And I believe I always had a big respect for him. And it's really took me really by surprise yesterday, you know. Nobody ever told me that he was sick.
Giroud didn't have the best start to the season, but has hit a great form recently. Why do you think he's in such a good form at the moment?
Because he has accepted the challenge not to be automatically selected and responded in the right way. When you face the situation he faced or you feel sorry for yourself, or you say, here I have a challenge that I have to take on and work even harder, and that's what he did. And so he benefits from the fact that he has worked very hard, and as well from the fact that he is fresh at a moment where some other players have already many games and sometimes need a little breather.
How happy are you with this form?
Look, we just extended his contract, so that means he has very interesting qualities that can give you a variety in your offensive games. You know, when we are a team who prefers to play on the ground, but when it doesn't pass on the ground, we can go as well in the air, and they can still help us there.
Arsene, with Carl Jenkinson possibly going out, does that mean Mathieu Dimitri won't?
The door is not definitely closed, but depends on the quality of the opportunities he will have.
Okay. And on Theo Walcott, just his fitness, do you think he'll be available for the weekend?
No, Walcott is still out. He's one of the players. He doesn't come back, but he was not rested last week. He was injured. You know, he's now out for 3.5 weeks, I think, and he still will. I think will not be available for Burnley as well. He will need 1 more week, 2 more weeks.
Any concern about him? Because I think it was only going to be a few days for him.
Not concerned, because it was at the start a little calf problem, but he had was not comfortable when he started to train again, and we had to pull him out again. So I'm not concerned, because it's, I think, 2 weeks.
Talking about Giroud, Coquelin and Koscielny signing those deals, do you think the fact that those three have committed themselves will encourage some of the others to do the same?
Yeah, generally I would say yes, because the squad has a great spirit, and I believe as well the players will want to stay together.
Sort of asking this question already, but did you have to give any of those three players assurances about your own future and what you might do?
No.
Before they signed?
They must think I'm here, you know.
Are you any closer in your own mind to decide?
No, I have nothing to add to that at the moment, you know. I'm completely focused on us getting back to the top, and to work very hard in every single game and prepare well.
You mentioned there were other factors with Ozil in particular. I mean, with Ozil and Sanchez, I guess people are talking about the money and the wage demands and things. Are they going to have to lower their wage demands in order to sign?
I do not want to go too much in detail on that, you know, because that can quickly be interpreted in the wrong way. We have to keep that as quiet as possible and try to find an agreement, and at the end of the day as well respect our line of conduct that we always have.